Buzzword all about eclipse, right?
Yeah.
Different kinds. Something I even learned that recently.
Teaching an old dog new tricks.
I know it, right? They must have changed it in astronomy or something.
I'm sure that's
right?
what it was, yeah.
Maybe Jake will tell us more about it.
Yeah, interesting celestial events, fun word to say. And we're learning about this weekend's eclipse, October 14th on Saturday. We might get a chance to view it. There will be some clouds in the area, but it's when the moon is in between the Earth and the sun, blocking that sunlight. And the path of annularity where the eclipse will be at its peak, where most of the sun will be covered, will be across the western and southern United States. We'll get in on a little bit of the eclipse, a partial solar eclipse here in North Dakota, with about 50 to 60% of the sun covered by the moon. And the eclipse will start at about 10:20 Central Time, 9:20 Mountain Time, peak at about 11:30, 11:40 Central Time, 10:30, 10:40 Mountain Time, and then wrap up at about noon Mountain Time or 1 p.m. Central Time. So we're talking about a couple hour window here where you can see the sun partially blocked by the moon. Now here's how it's going to unfold. The moon comes in front of the sun here. Everything lines up perfectly in our solar system. We get to that maximum eclipse at about 11:30 a.m. Central Time, where about 54% of the sun will be covered. And then the moon shifts down so that there'll be more light, because when the moon's in front of the sun, obviously there'll be a bit more darkness. Now, of course, there will be some clouds in the forecast. Unfortunately, that's going to impact our viewing opportunity for the eclipse. Here's that Saturday cloud cover forecast. You can see that there will be some clouds, but breaks in those clouds are possible as we go through the day. So a mostly cloudy sky expected for Saturday. We'll see how that all plays out, and if there will be some peaks in those clouds for you to see the eclipse. Now, if you are able to see it through those peaks in the clouds, you'll not want to look directly at the sun to prevent any eye damage. You'll want to make either a DIY solar viewer or purchase one online. Here's some basic items that you'll need to make one of those solar viewers. And you can use an old shoebox. That's a good idea. You can cut a couple of small holes into the side of the box, take a piece of foil and put that onto the box, one of those holes. And then inside the box, you're going to put a piece of paper, but first you'll poke a small hole into that foil. There's the paper on the back side of the box that you'll tape so that the sun's light can reflect off of that. Put the lid on the top of the box, take it outside. With your back to the sun, look through the open hole in the box. So the sun's light goes through the hole that we poked in the foil. It reflects off of that white piece of paper that we taped to the back of the box, and then it comes towards our eyes so that we can see the moon shadow in front of the sun safely so that we don't damage our eyes. So that's a DIY solar viewer that you can make. But this is our, again, annular solar eclipse this weekend, where the moon obscures all but the outer ring of the sun. You might have heard it referred to as the ring of fire, because the distances between the Earth, moon, and sun don't line up just right for it to be fully blocked by the moon's shadow. So the moon completely covers the sun during a total solar eclipse, and that's actually going to happen on April 8th of 2024, just about 6 months away, and that'll go over from the southern U.S. up towards the north and east. So we're kind of in the middle there. We'll get to see a partial solar eclipse next April as well. So the solar eclipse is when the moon is in between the sun and the Earth, and the moon casts that shadow, blocks the sun's light, whereas a lunar eclipse is where the Earth is between the sun and the moon. So the Earth casts its shadow on the moon, and we actually had a total lunar eclipse here in North Dakota just last year, May 15th of 2022, where the Earth was blocking that sunlight that would have otherwise illuminated the full moon. So that dimmed moon caused kind of a bloody hue to be seen by some Sky Spy viewers. So with the lunar eclipse, this is how it works. The sun's rays are coming into the Earth, with the Earth's atmosphere scattering the blue light from the sun, and that's why we have that red light remaining that gets cast onto the moon during those total lunar eclipses, where you have the umbra, or that total eclipse portion, and the penumbra for the partial eclipse portion, when that full moon goes into Earth's shadow. So kind of science behind the lunar eclipse here. When the moon goes into the Earth's umbra. We see that red hue cast on it, and then it passes outside of it. So history of kind of prediction of these eclipses. Going back to 700 BC, we were able to determine the length of what's called a Saros cycle. That's the interval between when the moon, earth, and sun line up perfectly for that eclipse to happen. This cycle was determined to happen every about 18 years, but the where of when these eclipses were going to happen was unknown. So the location, they were able to determine the length in between them, but not able to determine the prediction of the location. Well, in 1715, Edmund Halley correctly predicted within 4 minutes and 20 miles a total solar eclipse over his own house in London. And he made full use of Isaac Newton's new theories of gravity and orbital mechanics to come up with this first true prediction of a total solar eclipse. Today, we don't rely on calculating the orbits of the whole solar system. Instead, NASA just uses highly advanced techniques, but it's from an ancient technique, pattern recognition. With 38,000 repeating mathematical terms, NASA can predict both solar and lunar eclipses 1,000 years into the future. Beyond that, the moon's wobble and the Earth's changing rotation makes eclipse prediction a little bit less accurate. So here's a list of North Dakota eclipses that we'll see over the next several years. Here's some notable ones. So the one this Saturday, that partial solar eclipse, where across the state about 50 to 60% of the sun will be blocked by the moon. Similar situation, about 50 to 60% of the sun will be blocked by the moon next April for that partial solar eclipse. A couple of lunar eclipses from 2025 to 2029, but then in 2044, that's when we get in on our total solar eclipse, mainly across central and western North Dakota. But looking ahead to 2044 there, guys.
Wow.
We'll still be here, right?
It seems so far away, but it's going to be here like that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
And
impressive.
we'll keep fingers crossed for less cloud cover on this Saturday.
So true. And just, again, can't reiterate, just don't look at the sun.
Yes.
Don't do it. Don't risk your eyes and the eye damage that can occur. So, yeah,
Okay.
good stuff.
Thanks, Jacob.
You're welcome.
Stay with